FLIKO! I said on Twitter today, you could spend half the time it takes learning to make music on day trading sites and make 100x the profit. If you're just in music for the money, you look stupid. Do this for the right reasons. That's what I said on Twitter today. Let's have a hard talk. Can we have a tough talk for a second? A lot of people aren't going to like this, and it's not going to be necessarily motivational, but it might be. Somebody I respect to the nth degree, someone I respect as much as I could respect anybody, said to me one time, Kenny, if you ever really around people with money and they like you, the first thing they're going to ask you is, why are you only doing music? You look like a smart kid. Why are you only doing music? The music industry is designed for you to fail. And it sounds like this big, scary, harsh thing. I'm in the music industry. I do this every day. All I want to do is make music. All I want to do is work with artists. So is it fucking scary? Yeah. You know what else is scary? You could get crushed by the fucking compactor if you're a garbage man. There's risk everywhere. You know what I mean? Shit's tough. And it's like, it's hard to pay rent no matter what. So yeah, the things I'm about to say seem a little scary, but don't take it like, oh my God, I'll never fucking make it. There's risk in everything. It's hard to do fucking anything that's really fucking worthwhile. You know what I mean? Like, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But the music industry is designed, the template of the music industry is for you to not make money. On average, about 600 signings happen every year on a label. That's the average number between all labels in the world, everything. I read this recently. About 600 people get signed every year to the average label. You know what I mean? When I say a label, I could be saying like Sony, which has all these different subdivisions of smaller labels, and then imprints, and then blah, blah, blah. Like there's so many different trickle downs. So it's not like Atlantic Records signs 600 people. It might be Atlantic plus APG plus another imprint that someone has via Atlantic plus another, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different ventures going on at once. But about 600 people get signed to just maybe this one company that has 5 labels at it every year. And that's on average between all the big music companies. Do you see 600 new stars pop out of every label? Or let's say that's just one company. So do you see 1,000 new stars every year? Do you see 1,000 new people having number ones every year? Do you see 1,000 new artists on Spotify every year that are doing really well and making a lot of money? No, you don't. You find out about a couple artists every year that make it to the top. And then besides that, you might find some new artists you fuck with, this and that. But my point is, of all those artists we were just talking about, they're all signed. Those are signed artists who aren't making it, who have gotten past all the tough shit, gotten a record contract, gotten this big check from a record contract, all these different things, and they're still not making it, still not getting to the number one, still not doing all these things that it takes to win in the music industry, right? When you do a publishing deal or you do a record deal, you're selling a huge amount of the ownership you have on your music. So you say, okay, you guys are going to give me $1 million, right? Now you don't own your masters in most people's cases, which means after that contract is over, you don't get to make money on your music ever again. They make money on your music for the rest of your life. All you got was that M. You don't make a dollar till you pay back the $1 million they gave you. So they own your rights and they own that $1 million that they gave you. They're lending you $1 million so that you can say, okay, I'm going to make all this music this year that's going to make $5 million and then I'll make $4 million on it. But that's really hard to do. It's really hard to make millions of dollars on your one album that you put out that year when 1 million plays gets you barely a couple thousand on streaming. So you can look at how deals are broken down really, really far. If you look at like the Create OS deal simulator, my friends helped design that. Create OS designed this thing called a deal simulator. I've shown it on stream before, and you can type in, this is the advance that a label wants to give me. This is the amount of ownership they want. This is the amount of pub that they want to retain. All these different factors to a deal. And I'm not the best person to explain this, by the way. But then it shows you what you end up with or how much debt you're in. That's what the deal simulator does. There's basically no way to not be in debt if you take a record deal. Basically no way. If you have a very unprecedented deal for a smaller amount of money with one album with no options, maybe you'll make it out with your head all right if you do really well. But that's a deal that doesn't happen. That deal only happens whenever you're the hottest thing in the world, you haven't signed a deal yet, and you have unbelievable fucking managers. That's like a Tyler Odd Future situation. Like Clancy This unbelievable manager was working with the hottest, youngest kids in LA who said, fuck this label, we don't need money from anybody, we're doing 1 million views every time we drop a fucking video, we're so hot, we don't need to sign to anybody. So all these labels wanted to give them the best fucking deal they could because they were like, we need to get them a part of our label. We need to make money on this artist. But Clancy, the person who managed, Kelly Clancy, both of them, like they were amazing managers, knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. So Tyler ended up with full creative control, no crazy fucking long contracts, no fucked up deals. That is 1 in a billion. That is so fucking rare. There's millions of us making music. The reason I'm saying all this scary shit, the reason I'm saying all this shit about once the label, you finally get to the point where you get signed and you get that big check is still fucking you over. So some people go, fuck, all I'm trying to do is get to the point where I can get signed or get to the point where I can get a publishing deal. But you're telling me once I get to my goal, then I'm in debt? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. This is how it fucking goes. So do you see how much money you can make in 5 seconds if you play the stock market? Do you see how much money you can make in a couple years if you spend all the time you do playing instruments, learning DAWs, learning recording, working on your musicality, doing ear training? If you spend all the time you spend on making music, on just learning about the stock market and day trading and being a retail investor, you'd make way more money than music. You don't owe any of that money back. Could you go under doing a fucked option on some stock that you don't know enough about and then losing an infinite amount of money? Yes. Just like I said, there's risk in everything. So remember that when you're making music and you're making decisions about your career and you're making decisions about the music you want to make or who you ask for feedback or all these different kinds of things, because you're not doing this for money. You're not making music to be super rich. I don't care about having 3 houses. I didn't grow up living like that. So in my mind, it don't feel possible to me to have this like posh, crazy life where I drive my Bentley to my summer house. It don't feel real or exciting to me. Like, I'm more excited about getting a call from Rick Rubin. When that happens, that makes me feel like I'm living the right way. It doesn't make me feel like I'm living the right way sitting in a big empty house by myself. You know, it just doesn't. So I'm not someone, I can tell you this at 29 now, because I'm way closer to dying than a lot of y'all are. Like, I don't care about making the most amount of bread and having the most drip on. I really don't fucking care. I'm not lying. I'm not saying this to look cool on a fucking GoPro at 10 a.m. in the middle of another country. Like, I care about music. If you want to make money, you can make money. Don't think when you see Uzi having $24 million in his forehead or like any artist that you follow that has a lot of millions of dollars worth of shit or whatever it is, don't let any of y'all think that, oh wow, I can use my talent as a creative and become super rich that way. If you think like that, you're going to be very disappointed. Am I saying you shouldn't be paid for your talent? Fuck no. You all deserve way more money. We all deserve more. The legislature in Congress needs to fucking change for some of these things to change, for artists to start getting treated fairly and writers to start getting their credit and all these different things. Like, a lot of people are going to get paid a lot of money. Have I been able to do well for myself and be able to help my family and this and that? Yes. But if I had spent all these last 15 years that I started making beats on hedge funds and stocks and private equity and all this other shit, how much money do you think I'd have? So the reason I tweeted that today is because sometimes I see shit, or it's even people that like I get like peered up with sometimes and stuff, and I'm just like, nah. Like, I see people talking so much about like the money aspect of it or the sales aspect of it. I got my plaques. Like, I got plenty of things to show that I can sell records and this and that. Do I have 1 million number ones? Fuck no. But like, in my mind, when I think about doing like a Krungman song like Knowledge just did, that makes me feel like the coolest person in the world. I don't want people thinking I'm gonna just make good enough beats and to the point I get rich. To be Cardo or to be Boy Wonder or to be someone who's actually like produced enough records to be rich, it's 1 in a billion. You know what I mean? It really is 1 in a billion to be someone who can uphold that type of reputation in the industry, to uphold that level of work, all these things all the time. There's very few people you guys look at that are producers, you know what I mean, that are like making M's and M's and M's and M's and M's off their production. There's a lot of people who are producers who do well with music and then have many other revenue streams. And I'm not afraid to say that I'm one of those people. I have a bunch of different things that all are working at the same time. I'm invested in certain companies, and I don't mean like on Robinhood. I mean actual companies that my friends run and that my friends have built from the ground up. Like, I do a bunch of different things, but music is the only thing I want to do. So the reason I have other revenue streams is not because I'm like, all right, well, music's my one little lick, and then I have a lick over here, then I have a lick over here. The reason I do other things is because when I get into a room about music, I want to not worry about the check. If you got to focus on what your music's going to make for you, you're better off just making type beats. And we joke about type beats all the time, but like, that's the only way you're going to be Mr. Placement or Mrs. Placement or whoever, the placement person, every single fucking year, you know, is if you just follow trend. And I highly doubt that what truly motivates you and inspires you with the unique past that you have of listening to music, making music, being around music, I highly doubt that what you love is just the hottest thing on the radio every year. I think there's going to be certain years where you want to just make shit for you, you know? Does that make sense to anybody? Do I sound crazy? This is like how I like to think about it.